So happy Valentine's Day. I thought today I would just share a few kind of positive, loving ideas about your art and your art practice. But I first want to tell you a little story that gave me the idea. I was in art school and I was really terrified because I didn't know how to paint. I drew a lot as a kid, and a big resistance for me to going to art school with all these other really good people um, was the fact that I couldn't paint. And I had done a little bit of it, but I really struggled with it. And I even rearranged my schedule when I started to avoid that. And I stayed in the drawing classes, which I was pretty good at. But when I came to painting, especially the figure, it was just a mess. And I actually didn't draw from life a lot. I used to draw, but I would make up stuff. So even drawing the figure was hard for me, which I kind of avoided. But when I painted the figure, it was a hot mess and looked horrible. And so I avoided it for the first 2 terms. And then you were forced to take this painting class. And I had this teacher, his name was Dan McCaw. And I remember going to the first class pretty scared, and we had to buy all the materials and we're all sitting there. And we didn't even paint the first day, but he actually taught, he influenced me the way I teach. I tell a lot of stories, and so did he. And that was really different for me, the way I learned from him. It was powerful. And I remember he described painting as, he had one of his paintings he was working on, and he said, it's kind of like walking down a road, like you're walking on a railroad track and it's a beautiful day, and you're trying to balance on the railroad tracks and you're walking along, and you can't really, you can see what's in front of you and you're aware of things around you. Like you look up for a second, you see a barn over there and there's trees there, but you're mostly trying to keep walking down this railroad track, which I could completely picture. And he says, so you can't see everything in your world this in the same clarity as you can in what's in front of you. And he goes, your paintings are the same way. And he was working on this painting he painted from the figure, and he had this head painting. And he took his thumb, he goes, not everything needs to be in really good detail. And he took his thumb and he smeared parts of the person that he had painted, which was really good. And suddenly it got so much better because there was like smudgy areas. Things weren't all in the same degree of focus. That was the point. So when you're making art, it's okay to let some things be a little blurry and let other things be clear, because that's more realistic. That's more how we perceive things. I don't know, for me, that really resonated. And I remember I went home and I did a still life. That was the assignment. And he had said a bunch of other things, but these stories were so powerful, the way he taught. And I did this still life, and it was actually turned out pretty good. And I brought it in, and I remember I put it up on the crit shelf, which was terrifying. But it, compared to everyone some people had experience and some didn't, mine was solid, and he even pointed it out, saying how strong this was. I couldn't believe it, that I could go from just being terrified to doing something that was pretty good just by getting that information, just by having someone share something with you who's a little further ahead in a way that suddenly it's like you have all this experience. You just get that information. So that was powerful. And that really, progress comes fast and furious. And this is the first point. We think we have to just have, struggle and slowly we'll get there. But that's not the case. We can get information, and you can, on a Wednesday, you can have someone share something with you who's a little further ahead. And on Thursday, your work is like 20% better. And I love that because it gives you hope. It's not all on you. You get to rely on the information that's out there. So that's really encouraging. That's been really helpful for me. When I saw my work shift like that, I was like, wow, if I got that good over a weekend, imagine what I could do with more information, more help. The second idea is that the best art, the improvements in your work and the really good quality stuff mostly comes from you. That's what's responsible for what's making your art great. It's all of you. It's all your personality. It's all the quirks and all the individuality that you can tap and mine And you already have all of that. That's the big mover and shaker in making your art powerful, is you. You have that already. It doesn't matter if you've never even done any art before. You've been alive and you've been experiencing and you've been having challenges and you've had, exciting things happen. You've had hard things happen. All of it, all of that shapes you. And that's what you use to make your work unique. And that's why your work will be strong. And that's why it will stand out in the world when you tap into that. And you already have all of that, which is so cool. The third idea is around the benefits of pleasing yourself first. And this is a hard one. And especially for those folks, who coming new into art, it's like, you feel like an imposter, and should I, I've never done this before. Do I really, who am I to like buy these materials and sit here and, the world's falling apart and I'm like trying to paint a still life. You can tell yourself those stories, but if you can, art making isn't that. Art making is you're doing art because it brings you alive, and it develops you, and it allows you to show up in the world, and it's powerful for other people. And it feels so amazing to do that. When we please ourselves first, when we answer that call, we get an abundance of energy and that inspiration. And that's what fuels creativity. That's what keeps us going. That's what makes our art better and better and better. But there's an overflow. There's an overflow of energy, of positivity, to when you're in it with your art. You get more back than you put into it. When things are going and you're excited, you get a lot. That's what started me teaching. I just was so fired up, from doing my work. And I just wanted to share it. You just want to get on top of a roof and yell to the world, like, check this out. This is so cool. You should do this. You should try this. Look at this. So that's a hard thing to get. But when in doubt, move to what lights you up. Do that first. It's that thing of, when the plane's going down and they say, put the gas mask, the face mask on, get the oxygen mask on yourself, then for your kids. We tend to do everything for everyone else first, but you'll end up serving more people if you have energy to do that. And that comes from answering this call to make your work and move towards it. I love those ideas, and because they're all available, they're all sitting here today, and they're positive and they're restful. I love it. That these are things that we can rest in. There's lots of uncertainty in the world of art making, but these are solid and these are comforting. So I hope that these feel loving to you. They do to me. They're what make me sleep well at night, and that it helps me in my progress. So tomorrow we are launching the 2021 Art to Life free workshop. And this is a little like that story I told of Dan McCaw. I've tried, and every year we get better at this. This is information that I believe you can listen to on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And by the next Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, you will be able to make stronger work. This is the goal. And we always talk about this, it's like, this is actionable. This is a way, this is thinking, this is information that you can use right now, that, during the program, during the workshop. So if you haven't had an opportunity to sign up, there's still time to do that. You can click on the link below. We will be starting at 6 a.m. tomorrow, Pacific Coast time, Pacific Standard Time, because we're going to be sending out an email with a really concise lesson. And then I'll be following up in the free workshop Facebook group with a live in-studio training, which is going to be really fun. I've got a lot of cool stuff planned, and we got some surprises and prizes and all kinds of stuff this week. So I really hope you can participate. This is the culmination of all my energy that I get, and this is the extra. This is what we do. This is what Art to Life does, and it takes. I say Art to Life because now it's not just me. There's about 10 or 15 people helping put this event on, this experience. And it's all about abundance and moving you further down and keeping this party going. So I'm really excited to see you in there, and can't wait. Okay, thanks so much. Hey everyone, if you found this helpful, I have a whole lot more to teach, share, and inspire you with every single week. So please join the Art to Life YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below. Okay, great. Let's do this.